Hi, everyone. My name is Jama with the Women's Net Advisory Committee, and we are so excited to introduce our March 2024 winners. We have with us all three winners, so excited. We have first Brittany Snyder with Joystream, the mobile merrymaker, and she is our startup winner. We also have with us Brittany Fentress with SpiritThread Studio and Stitches, and she is our Amber Grant winner. And then we have Crystal Stewart with Yeah Baby Boards, and she is our food and beverage category grant winner. So we are so excited that all three of you made it today and that we get to learn a little bit about you and the awesome things that you're doing and give us some business tips and advice on how you manage some of the things that you're going through as business owners. So thank you so much for being here. So before we begin, maybe we can start with each of you telling us a little bit about your business. Maybe we'll start with Brittany Snyder and tell us a little bit about Joystream, the mobile merrymaker.
All right. Well, like you said, my name is Brittany Snyder, and I'm the owner and founder of Joystream, the mobile merrymaker. Joystream is a versatile event space inside of a custom Airstream trailer that can be used for beverage service, photo booth, or lounge space. So it's super versatile. It can be used for a number of different parties, backyard get-togethers to elaborate weddings, and we just want to come out and just spread some joy to the community.
So very cool. And Brittany Fentress, please tell us a little bit about SpiritThread Studio and Stitches.
Yeah, so SpiritThread Studio and Stitches is an upholstery business and an interior design business, but I really focus on the upholstery. So it all came from having a kid and wanting another hobby after my first time having a child 12 years ago. And I took a class, kind of fell in love with it. I fell in love with taking something apart and putting it back together. And then a hobby ended up becoming a career. And my favorite thing is to find the trash on the corner, like that beautiful sofa that somebody decided they didn't want. And I love to reupholster them, but my favorites are the heirlooms that people bring me, and we take the grandmother's chair and we make it just 1,000 times better. But usually my clients want exactly what their grandmother chair looked like in like the 60s. They're like, oh, that's what it is. I want it to look exactly like that so that their grandmother keeps living. So we're based in the San Francisco Bay Area, but we do work worldwide.
Amazing. Very cool. And Crystal Stewart, please tell us a little bit about Yeah Baby Boards. Love saying
Stewart. Yeah, Baby Board started through COVID. All the restaurants were shutting down, and we had just moved to Washington, and I was looking for a job, couldn't find it, and entrepreneurship runs deep in my family, and I just said, I'm gonna try this. So I started with, a few simple, small charcuterie boards, selling them to friends and family, and then over the next year, business just kept growing and growing. So we decided we're gonna start a little storefront because I was scared. I didn't want anything big after COVID. And we slowly, my dog, and we slowly started building out our storefront, and we've had our storefront for 2 years. We cater weddings. We have foot traffic, maverick. Weddings, we have a lot of foot traffic. I mean, we just kind of do whatever we can and get ourselves out there, and we love Baby Boards.
amazing. So cool. So I love that all three of you have businesses that just create beautiful things and memories and just joy. And so that's pretty awesome. So maybe a little bit, Brittany Snyder, can you please tell us who inspired your business? Where did you come up with this great idea?
Well, it was a number of things. So kind of similar to the COVID situation. It's funny how a lot of things are blossoming out of such a dark time. So that was what it was for me. So I had been a professional dancer my entire life, Radio City Rockette for many years. And we did not do the Christmas Spectacular that year. And it's 2020 in the middle of that year. And it's just like, I knew I was probably going to retire in a handful of years. And a lot of things interest me. And I just wasn't sure, like, I didn't know yet, like, what really like sparked something in me. I had my dream job for so long and I just wasn't sure what the pivot was. And I have always been obsessed with Airstream trailers. Just they're just the cutest things. That little touch of like Americana. It's just the nostalgia around it, everything. And I was actually looking at one to make into a tiny little home. That's how it all started. I'm scouring the internet and I came across one that was outfitted as a mobile bar. And I was like, that is such a good idea. And I love people. I love being around. I've taken event planning courses and all that stuff. And I just was like, I that is just such a good idea. And we didn't know what events were going to look like or gatherings were going to look like. And even beyond, like, it doesn't matter if it's in the middle of a pandemic or whatever, I just felt like this was something that had legs that could grow beyond, but specifically was thinking about that. Like, what are they going to look like? And I can roll up anywhere, like I was saying, to your backyard or wherever. And so I wanted to take that idea and I wanted to make it more robust. So I didn't want it to just be a mobile bar. I wanted to be able to pull up to a church or a kid's birthday party. Yes, we have an 8-foot serving window, so we can do beverage service, but it's also like I'm sitting in our lounge space. I wish I knew about your business. You could have done my upholstery for the but yeah, everything is custom inside. But so I'm sitting in a lounge space, so it could be a lounge space. It can also be a photo booth area. So I really wanted it to be able to roll up to any sort of function and be able to come and spread that joy. And so that was really important to me. And then the name, so you hem and haw over a lot of things with your business constantly. And that was one, like I threw out some names, but I was like, we all need some joy. Again, it doesn't matter if we're in the middle of a pandemic or everything's great. You can always use more joy. And when I said Joystream, it just like rolled off my tongue. And then I came up with the mobile merrymaker and I was like, you know what? It might be a little cheesy to some, but I'm a little cheesy, so it's okay. And so I just went with that. I was like, it just stuck. And I was like, we just need some joy no matter what in our lives. And that's where the name came from. And personally, our family, before COVID, we suffered a couple really big losses. My brother at 37 years old was diagnosed with a super rare form of cancer called leiomyosarcoma. And they found an 8-pound tumor in his body. It was crazy. He ended up living for 3 years, but unfortunately did pass away 3 years later. And then we unfortunately lost my dad a couple years later. And so then the pandemic happened, and it was just like, there was just like kind of this dark cloud. I mean, we're a pretty positive family, but it's just a little darkness. And this has been so awesome for our family. Like we were in the path of totality because I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana. And we were out at an event for that. And it's my mom, my sister, and me, and they're out here working with me. And it was just like, and even my sister-in-law, like it just brought so much light. I did my niece's 10th birthday party the other day. It just has brought a lot of joy to our lives, our personal lives as well. And a big thing for me, I knew that when I was any business I had, I wanted to give back. When we were going through everything with my brother, the community was just so amazing. And even before that, it's always just been something that was instilled in me. And I want to be able to give back as much as possible. So it's whether that's a need in the community or a charity that's near and dear to our hearts. And right now, the push is for leiomyosarcoma because it's just so underfunded. They have to stop, certain, drug trials and things. So my niece had done lemonade stands for it like back in the day. And so we really want to revive that. And so that's just really important for me to give back. And we're actually doing a walk here in a couple of weeks on the 27th that Joystream's going to be a sponsor for and give back their sales. That. So I'm really excited about that and just being able to be a light in the community and just be able to give back as much as possible. That's just so, so, so important. So there's a lot of inspirations that I didn't even mention, but those were some of the big driving forces for why I wanted to do this and why we're here today.
Okay, wonderful. What a story. We all have so many from COVID, and it's nice that there's a positive thing that came out of it for you.
Totally.
And so maybe Brittany Fentress, I know you talked a little bit about your upholstery business, and maybe can you tell us a little bit about what makes your business approach unique from maybe other businesses that are providing a similar service as yours?
Well, what makes it unique into the upholstery business is if you're in upholstery and you're a woman, you're rare. It is a man's business. And there are 2 other people that I know of that are pretty well off. Oh, hi. Don't put your hands up. You get balloons now. I won. So what makes it different is that I'm a woman. And it is so as simple as that. There's another difference I'll mention, but there is another company I love, Chairloom in Pennsylvania. There's a woman that I self-taught from her book. I cannot remember her name right now. I apologize, but there is a book I picked up, and she's from Texas. I think she's based off in Austin. But besides that, if you go to the upholstery businesses in the San Francisco area, they're all men. There's one woman who owns a business here, but the men do the upholstery. So, and I grew up with a father who's a contractor, and he taught me how to use every single machine. I took construction class. I wanted to be an architect, so I like took any kind of hands-on experience, like from electrical work, plumbing. So I do not believe that a woman can't use a piece of machinery and that you have to be a man to pick up a sofa. It bothers me so much when someone's like, oh, let me get that furniture. I'm like, no, I move furniture all day long. I've learned how to leverage a sofa down the stairs all by myself. So it's a woman's business too. And so I teach women how to do upholstery online and in person. So I am also different in that way, is that I offer classes. Like you can come in and I can do one-on-one, we do group classes, and we're now doing online classes where you want to build a headboard. Here's your DIY tutorial and you just follow along. And we are going to start doing live online classes. It'll be interesting. It's going to be kind of a trial period. So between being a woman-ran business and my goal is to only hire women, it sounds like kind of feel bad, like, sorry guys, you've had this for a while. But I really want to empower moms. Like during, for example, my husband, his company is going through a bankruptcy, and it's like, okay, what can I do now to really support my family? Well, if you're having financial troubles, and you're in the Bay Area, you've gotten laid off from all the AI stuff. Like we've had huge layoffs for tech. And if you have a gift, if you have something you could do with your hands, you can offer, and you can't take that away. So I love teaching women how to do something with their hands so that they can make an income for their family.
Absolutely. And we all know we have furniture maybe we would love to do something with, or we have furniture that we find or whatever. So it's a nice thing to create beauty in this world. And I love the fact that you have a background in using some of these tools, because you can also teach that using some of these tools, even though there is a technique to them, it is possible to use, and they're not, it's possible.
The scariness away.
Yeah.
I mean, you are dangerous.
Yeah.
I definitely hurt myself, but it's really empowering. Like I think one of the best feelings in the world is to give a woman a nail gun. And there is just this empowering feeling about just the force, and I love it, but it could just be my cup of tea too. So
I'm with you, other Brittany. I'm with you for sure.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
It's funny because I get asked that, like when I'm at events, they're like, well, who towed this for you? And I'm like, me? I did it. So I'm with you. It's
And
like,
driving that is not easy.
It's not.
It's not.
The first time I had ever towed anything was picking this up 3.5 hours away. So you learn by doing.
You do. It's 100% true.
I mean, I had a little driving course when I was up there and picking it up, and he's like, you're good to go. I was like, all right, 10 and 2 and sweat.
Glad you made it safe.
Thank you.
Awesome. And so, Crystal, you are in a food and beverage business, right? And so, and you make these beautiful charcuterie creations. They're just gorgeous. It's like artwork you can eat. And so what have you done strategy-wise to let others know about what you're doing with your business?
Of course, social media. We all have learned throughout our business to become a social media guru.
It's hard.
Thank you. It is hard. It's a lot of work.
It is.
I use Canva a lot, different programs to help me get my information out. But the thing that has been really key to me in my community is becoming a part of the community. It was like Brittany said, it's like helping donating, doing what you can, because if you become a part of your community and you help your community will always show up for you in your business. They will show up, they will come support. For me, if their daughter gets married, they're going to remember me from a school function where I donated, a gift card or a charcuterie board. And I think it's really, really, really important to show up for your community, be a part of your community. And if you grow and your community grows and everybody's winning and growing and bringing more income into your area, I mean, that's the goal for me.
That is really nice. And really without community, it's hard. And so being recognized.
I see people walk by and they wave to me and you know what's going on, and it's so cute. The little kids come in and they're like looking for a piece of salami. I'm just giving and it's really important just to like be a contributing person in your community. You're not just there to serve charcuterie, you're there to help and really be part of it.
Definitely, if we were nearby, we would be a frequent flyer.
Awesome.
They look delish.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
Now, Brittany with Joystream. So we've seen some similar kind of trailer type pop-up things come up in different communities. But what makes Joystream's approach unique from other businesses that also do some similar type things?
Yeah. So I kind of touched on this earlier, but the fact that we aren't just one thing, we aren't just your beverage service, we aren't just your photo booth or a lounge space. We can do it all. We can even run the photo booth and the beverage service depending on guest count at the same time, which that's then a one-stop shop for you. You don't have to hire different services. And that was just, like I said, so important to me to be able to be super versatile and allow that. And another thing that has just always been so important from the jump was that I don't want this to just be a service. I want this to be an experience. And it's so awesome. It like makes me want to cry because it's like the feedback I've gotten already in the short amount of time since we just launched in October. It's just like people just are so enjoying it and they walk away. That's what I want. I want people to walk away and have a smile on their face and a drink in their hand or the picture in their hand, and just and I just hear a lot of laughter surrounding it. And it's just that's what I want. It's an elevated experience, and and like I said, it's an experience. It is not just anyone can offer a service. And I'm not saying all those services aren't great, but it's the hospitality that takes it to the next level. And that is what I pride myself on till forever. And that's just so important to me, that people experience something and feel something when they're here. It's not just a service.
That's wonderful. We love that. So I could feel your warmth through.
Oh,
Very cool.
Thank you.
And so Brittany Fentress with SpiritThread Studio Stitches. Can you tell us a little bit about what effective strategies you've used? I know you said that you're not just local, but you're national and beyond. And so what strategies do you use to let other people know about what you're doing?
I remember, I have 3 things here. Oh yeah. So first one, I use a Thumbtack. So first you go onto where are people looking for this service? They're either going to Google it. So make sure you're on Google, not put the things up again. So you're either going to Google it, you're going to Yelp it. So just or you're going to maybe Angie's List, but kind of think like your client, where would they look? So I have my name in all those places, and Thumbtack actually is my #1 lead magnet. I get most of my clients from there. And so they would look for Joystream, something like yours, and they would look for charcuterie. That's all of our products here today we could find through there. And very low cost and high profit off of that. So my husband was like, how much do you pay for this? I'm like, dollars. And I'm getting thousands back. So it's a great thing to get your name on. The other way is, I'm going to go with what Crystal said was my second one, is really when I first started, it was just a hobby, just I was reupholstering some pieces I snuck into the moving van when when we moved to California. And I had sold my first business. This is my fourth business. So I am entrepreneurial as well, down to like, I love it. And actually have another business at the same time as this one. Actually, I have two. So I have multiples. But the community is big. So with upholstery, I thought, okay, how can I sell my pieces? Because I wasn't really a full business yet. I just wanted to sell the stuff I was doing on the side. So I went into local shops asking, could I sell my pieces in your shop? And then one woman in particular, so it was about creating these relationships. I think business is 100% relationships. So I created this relationship with this woman. I started selling all my stuff just in her store. Then anytime she had like an antique fair or she did this big events, I was always there. And then we ended up doing this huge corporate job together where I upholstered like 20 sofas, and I did this like massive job while I was super pregnant, like 9 months pregnant. And so when you're thinking about starting a business, I think we make it so much harder than it is. And we think it needs to, like, I need to be on Instagram, I need to be on Facebook, I need to be all over the place. Like, no, pick one social media outstream. Like, you do not need to be on all of them. Just pick one. Where are your people at? Like, knowing your avatar is key. If you're for the 20-year-olds, you need to be on Instagram, forget Facebook. Like, Facebook is for probably our generation, but not for the younger generation. So make it simple. And if your clients are local, like I used to think with one of my businesses, I kept thinking, I just need an online course. Well, really, all of my money came from local community people who happened to find out that, oh, I offered aerial yoga or I did this other thing. And then they became a client for something else, but they were all local. So think locally first. That's what I think is, especially after COVID. And there's a lot of people there's a lot of noise online right now. After I've taken a lot of AI courses, and there's a lot of noise there because people can push out a lot of content really quickly. So go locally, like find who can you look for. Like for me, interior designers, who can you collaborate with? Oh, so I just emailed one day, I looked up every interior designer locally and I emailed every single one of them, made it very personal. I emailed anybody that could possibly offer my service as like an affiliate. So think fabric designers locally, like furniture shops, even if it's just home decor shops, but like really think about who's within your community. And then the third one is I joined a mastermind, and it's again creating relationship and community, because when they talk about you and you're always in like these relationships, they can always refer someone that you might not even thought about, or they'll talk about you on their show, and you can collaborate together. So it's collaborations, relationships, thinking locally, and using resources like Thumbtack or Angie's List that are really low cost. So, and then you did mention, I'm sorry, that thinking like online courses.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't start my online courses until after I built my more local business. So it was like, what's the plan and the strategy was like, okay, that's a little bit later down the road. Mm-hmm. And I can kind of play with it and be messy, like get messy with it. It doesn't need to be perfect, mm-hmm. but just start.
Yeah. I love that you talked about just incremental, like I couldn't do online before I did local. And so that makes so much sense. And that actually reminds me of this next question. It's actually for Crystal, because you kind of experienced like a huge expansion and explosion in your food business. And so tell us a lesson learned story that you learned along the way that maybe you wish somebody would have told you instead of having to go through it, but now you're wiser and better because of it.
Well, I mean, it's honestly, know your numbers, ladies. Know every little piece of your numbers, because you get into your business and you become so passionate, right? You love it, right? It's your baby, it's your child. You love what you're doing. You're starting a business and you just go for it. I'm just putting cheese and meat and throwing all the things together. And then before know it, I have taxes due, I have inventory, product to buy, and money's just flying all over the place. And at the end of the day, you may love what you do, but this is a business and you need to know your budget. And I'm to the point where if I cut a piece of twine to wrap a box, I know how much each inch of that twine is. And that's really where you got to go. So to have your business have longevity in your business, we're in business to support our families. I have 2 daughters. I'm a single mom. If that inch of twine goes missing, that's 50 cents that someone's not getting somewhere. And it's really, really important when you rely on your income from your business to survive. And you can't do that without knowing what everything costs, employees, taxes. Every time I get a deposit for anything purchased, whether it be a $8 glass of wine or a $5,000 catering job, I save 33% for taxes right away, just all the time. Really, at the end of the day, if you want your business to last, you really want to become a part of your community, you really want to do well for your family, you have to know the money. You have to know every little piece of it, and you have to budget. So budget is just as important as knowing your true cost. And don't forget that you are part of that cost. You deserve to be paid, you guys. You just work and work and work, and then you're like doing all these things and putting money back into your company, and then you turn around and you don't have money in your own bank account. Like, no, that is not why we are here. Your income matters, and just know your numbers. And it took me, I've been in business 4 years, 2 years with the storefront, 2 years without. I would say those 2 years before the storefront, I didn't really know. And it wasn't until I had the overhead and everything of having my store and my restaurant that I was like, if I want to stay here, I need to know this. And then I figured it out. So that's my life.
I love that. That is so practical, especially when you said, this is your passion, but then there's the practical piece of it. And it's even, what is this costing me, and what is even my time worth? And so just that balancing act is so difficult. And so you're right, that's a huge lesson learned for many businesses, especially our startups that are just going, because sometimes those costs add up. And then the taxes.
And the quarter ends and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Or you have employees before you're really ready, because employees come with a large, they're expensive to have them. And you don't want to take on that responsibility if you're not even figuring out how you can survive off of that business, right? Yeah. And I learned all these things the hard way. So I'd love for you guys to be a little better.
I'd love to add something to what Kristen said. I also, because all 3 of us probably travel a lot within our business. And I had an upholstery lead this week, and they said, "Oh, it's too expensive for me." And I broke it down, like, I'm traveling to your home and I'm traveling back, and you live an hour and a half away from my studio. Like, so if you're starting, don't people please, because that hour and a half you can get caught in traffic. It can be 2 hours, it could be 3. So if you people please and don't charge for those, like, your time is worth money. You'll bleed gas, you'll bleed oil in your car, all of those things. But it's really like valuing your time is really key.
Like, it's so good.
If it's taking me away from my kids and my family time, like, this is work. So there has to be value in that, because you don't want to, and it's hard because, you want to help everybody, especially if you're a lover of community and everything. But at the end of the day, it's like, you got to be a businesswoman. You got to make this happen. And if I'm not loving on my kids, then, we're trying to make it happen here.
Yeah, no, it's just so good to hear, especially with being in the position that I'm in. I'm like, well, it's that fine line between needing to do things, be out there, give your time. But then I feel like I'm getting to that point where I'm like, okay, I'm now, like, I've given a lot of that, like, away kind of thing, you know, which I know that needs to happen to get my name out. And I don't mind because it's like, oh, I'm going to have so many eyes on it that can turn over into, you know, all these leads. But I just so appreciate you saying that. I just had that situation happen, and it was an event like 2.5 hours away. And I was like, I include 50 miles round trip. But then beyond that, like, I'm towing a 22-foot trailer. I'm towing a truck, or I have a truck, you know, it's like, I can't, you know, they're like, the mileage alone, they're like, that's too much. I'm like, okay, like, I don't, you know, and I feel bad because this would have been a great gig, but I'm like, I have to stay strong, and I have to be able to, like you said, not people please everyone, and kindly, you know, walk away from those, unfortunately. But then that means that there's something else that's meant to be.
Yes.
So, you know,
Yes. Something else will, for sure.
yeah, it always works out. Just sometimes, you know, yeah, you have to cry a couple times before.
Well,
Okay.
and because, you know, you're in a service-based industry, or even you're providing a service, so you're not your best if you're feeling a little resentful or frustrated or feel like you're being taken advantage of in some way. So you're not your best for your client or your customer. And
Yep.
so it's a win-win all around when you can actually hold to your boundary line and just keep a healthy balance. So for sure.
So
It
right.
didn't really that value and like worth, it didn't really click until like this last year where someone called me an artisan. Because I was thinking, oh, upholstery is service, like trying to make it as cheap as possible so people would get me. And when someone said, you're an artisan, you create art, because my favorite thing, what I forgot to mention, is just doing what I want to do and not asking what they want to do. Like, I just make what I want to make, and then you can buy it.
Yeah.
But when someone put that seed, just a different seed in my head that I'm an artist, like the value all completely changed. My mindset completely changed around it. Versus, oh, I just create this silver service, I'm an upholstery just like anybody else. Like, no, you're not.
Mm-mm.
You're an artisan.
Yeah.
And so it changed the game for me in a very unexpected way. So
And no one does it like you. No matter what. Like, every single person is individual. And I'm reminding myself that too. Like, it's just never gonna be the same because no one is you. You're your superpower.
That's setting back.
The affirmations. The affirmations.
Absolutely. Well,
I
thanks.
missed what Crystal just said. What Crystal said something, but it only caught Brittany.
It's
Oh, sorry.
important because you have to set boundaries. Like, you love what you do, you're passionate about it, you want your community to feel passionate about it too. But there's value in setting boundaries. There's value for yourself because you don't want to get burnt out. And you know, your family doesn't want to see you like that. Your community doesn't want to see you like that. You have to show up, you have to set boundaries, and it's good for everybody. And it helps the long
Time, like your own time, like when people, like I tell my clients, if you put their boundaries right up in the beginning, like I do not respond to your emails or your texts or calls on Sundays, or I will on Saturday between these hours, and this is when I will check my email and when I will not check my email. Because if you set it up in the very beginning, other company has a staging company, and realtors will walk all over you if you don't set up your boundaries right in the beginning. So that I have found that, like, even with my clients, like, I know that you're available on the weekends, but I'm not. Like, I work during the week. And so it's just, if you set that up in the beginning, you're going to set yourself up for success and not burning out, because then you can make sure that you have those days to recharge.
Absolutely. And that's really a key way to keep enduring through everything, and to even have, you know, Crystal, you talked about you know what your costs are. Well, when you're clear-headed and you have that rest and you're able to, then you can really show that insight into your business and have that. But if you're just running ragged, you're just going through the motions of it. So
yeah.
important lessons. Okay, so our final question, we want to know where we can find all of you to be able to connect with you when we are looking for some services. And so Brittany, Snyder with Joystream, the mobile merrymaker, where can we find you? How can we find you? And where can we book you?
All right. You can find Joystream at Joystream Mobile on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I am joystreammobile.com. That's my website. And you can book through, there should be a link on all of those where you can book me and check out all the fun things we've been doing so far. So at Joystream Mobile.
Yes, and you'll be able to find really nice pictures of her unit there. It's super cute. So
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate
in
that.
Illinois, Indiana? Where-
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis. Okay.
Yep. Mhm.
and then Brittany Fentress, SpiritThread Studio and Stitches. Where can we go find you?
Can say that whole thing again. I didn't explain what it meant, but there was a meaning behind it. SpiritThread Studio and Stitches.com, and also SpiritThread Studio and Stitches on Facebook. They couldn't fit that whole thing in Instagram, so it's spirit_thread_studio. And but I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and my website, and I'm based in the San Francisco area, but you can get me online, so you can go in there, join my what do you call it, your email, the subscribe, and you can get courses and stuff that come to your computer.
And if we need to book you for a job, we can get on.
You can go on my website. There's a contact
okay.
information page. It's easy peasy.
Okay, that might be easier than searching through Thumbtack.
Oh yes. If you're not based in the San Francisco area, I will not show up on Thumbtack for you.
Oh, okay, good to know. I didn't
Because
know.
it finds it uses near you services.
Oh, okay. All right. I've done a search, but I didn't realize it was a narrow search.
Yeah, it's very narrow. Angie's List is similar. I think you might be able to change it on Angie's List.
Oh, good to know. Thank you.
Okay.
And Crystal Stewart. Yeah, baby boards. Where are we going to go get some charcuterie?
So you can find us on Instagram, YaBabyBoards, Facebook, YaBabyBoards, and then my website is yababyboards.com. I'm going to spell it because you could spell yeah a lot of different ways. So it's YEAH. So YaBabyBoards with an S.com. Yeah, you could find us there, hear our story, follow us online, and oh, and we're in Ferndale, Washington. So we're in the Pacific Northwest, really close to the Canadian border.
Ooh, very cold. This has definitely been an amazing discussion and it's just super helpful. And there's so many nuggets and gems in here that I know that our network will be able to glean from and apply to their own businesses. And so thank you so much for joining us today. Again, we have Brittany Snyder, our startup grant winner with Joystream, the mobile maker, and we have Brittany Fentress with SpiritThread Studio and Stitches, and then we have Crystal Stewart with Yeah Baby Boards.
Yep.
So, I love saying that. So. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations. And we're so excited to also touch base with you at the end of the year and see how everything's going and get updates from all of you. So very exciting. Thank you.